I mean,
he's a monster.
Yeah.
And there's guys, and you know this because you work with Merab. There's guys that reach this level of discipline and they achieve a level of cardiovascular performance that's just above everybody else's, and then they maintain it. Like they get that advantage and they keep pushing it and they slowly keep adding on to it. Like you're seeing Merab now. Like,
oh my God.
Particularly in the second O'Malley fight, you're seeing just like a totally different beast. He's super nonstop, and you can't keep up with that. You know, he's like, it's just hard work. It's just hard work. I believe that, but man,
but state of mind too. Like he believes it mentally.
But it's the amount of hard work is extraordinary to get to that level, and I think Dricus is kind of a similar
that kind
thing.
of guy.
I think that dude works so hard that he can go out there and fight full blast, which is what's weird to when you watch him fight. Like sometimes it doesn't look as clean.
He looks like he's mouth breathing, but he just keeps the same pace.
A lot of that was the earlier fights before he got his nose fixed. So he got his nose fixed,
all right,
so he could breathe out of his nose.
Well, makes sense.
Changed everything, and then went on a tear after that. That's when he crushed Whitaker. Like the Whitaker one was shocking. Like, because we all know how durable Whitaker is. The Yoel Romero fights, like that guy's durable as fuck. To watch him just flatten him like that, you're like, whoa, hang on.
He's funny. He says, I don't have a great poker face. He goes, people say I look tired because I am tired.
Right.
And when you get tired, you breathe out of your mouth more. And he goes, but even if I am tired, I don't have a poker face, but I'm still coming forward. Exactly. I'm still gonna. So, and he's got confidence. He's beaming with confidence. He's just that guy. He's a good champion. He's a great champion. Speaks well. Yeah.
Looks the part.
It's interesting, the Izzy fight. I went and watched that again. And, it seemed like Izzy had an advantage up to a point, but then the pressure got to him. And then he got hit with a couple of those long shots. He got hit, and it just looked like he just didn't have enough in him to fight his way out of it. And when he went down, he got submitted pretty quickly afterwards. But I would wonder what Izzy in his prime, how that fight would have looked, because that would have been a lot different. Izzy in his prime when he was,
he was a little quicker, better angles,
Also, just hadn't been damaged. Right? There's just there's the damage of training. Is like, but like Izzy Paulo Costa. Yeah, that's prime. Yeah, that's prime. That's also motivated Izzy. Like fuck you, Izzy.
He was sitting down on his shots. Izzy. Yeah.
I mean, put him away quick and then dry humped him.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Terrible. Don't do that, kids. But that is
bad.
Before I got here, I was watching fucking Khamzat versus Kamaru Usman. Not to just jump into that now, but
let's jump into it. Yeah.
I had Dricus on Unfiltered the other day.
Yep.
And he's an intelligent guy, man. Yeah. He's not a guy that doesn't do his homework. And he was just saying about everybody talks about how aggressive Khamzat is, and he goes, watch his fight in Kamaru Usman the second round. Over 3 minutes of him just standing
there.
He's like, he's not going to be able to do that to me. He's going to be working the whole time.
Right.
He trains so fucking hard that he puts out everything in that 5 minutes. That 1 minute gets him right back. It's almost like he approaches that at like 5 different fights. Like, you know what I mean? Because in that 1 minute, he comes back down, and then he goes back out there again, Dricus. And we were just talking that you saw the same thing I saw with his grappling ability. He took out a whole, listen, it's different. Those guys are a lot of guard players.
And
but he did a quintet and submitted everybody. Again, they were more jiu-jitsu guys. It's a different type of style, but that was impressive. Not to mention, and I looked with, my producers gave me his bio and everything, and I'm like, dude, he started his first entry into martial arts was at 5 years old doing judo, and his second discipline was at 12 years old doing wrestling. I mean, it's not like he's not a grappler. Everybody's just so used to him.
That would have been very, very interesting to see him versus Dricus, because he could have handled that pressure. Because the pressure is bananas.
Like, we were talking last night. We both think that DDP can pull this out and win it. Like he
could definitely win it.
My mindset, and look, we all know Khamzat's a savage.
He can win it too. But I could see either one of these guys winning this fight.
But if we look at it, his 2 toughest opponents, save for Whitaker, who went in there with a broken face and got it broke the rest of the way.
Right.
Gilbert 170, and maybe Gilbert won that one. Kamaru 170, took it on very short notice.
Off the couch.
Almost won that one. If it goes longer, probably he does win that one.
That was middleweight.
Yeah, well, yeah, but he's a 170 pounder. Like if he's making 70 all the time and going to 85,
Dricus will be
now
bigger.
you're fighting a dude that walks at 230. So he's not going to have a big strength advantage over him. Yeah, he's going to be the better wrestler, you know. But I just think that Dricus is going to be able to weather the storm and then come out the other side, and it's going to be a problem. And if Khamzat comes in, people are talking about him fighting at a slower pace. Well, that's not his style. And if he fights at a slower pace, I think that plays into Dricus's hands, because it will allow him
gonna make
to move
fight
forward
fast.
and,
For sure.
and pressure him and things.
Well,
so
it's going to be interesting to see if it gets into deep water. That's what's going to be interesting, because I know he started training with Calavita. So he went
for his conditioning.
Yeah, he went to Sam Calavita, who trained TJ Dillashaw. Yep. He works with Aaron Pico. Yeah. Arman Sarukian's doing it with him too. And that guy is a legend, man. Calavita is
100%.
He's a real.
I believe with cardio too, part of it is your mental, your mindset, like with pushing through the tired. And you know, we were talking a little last night, and you know, Khamzat's a bad motherfucker. I don't know about his mind yet, because
well, this is the thing. This is what I was getting at.
Pulls out of a bunch of fights, you know.
Arman Sarukian, who also just pulled out of a fight.
Right.
But Arman Arman said the problem was Khamzat overtrained for every fight, and he would always come into fights worn out. And that was the difference between working with Calavita. That they're monitoring his actual recovery. They're making sure they're doing everything scientifically. Calavita, I think his background is in cycling. It was in endurance sports.
Yeah. I'm familiar. I'm familiar with him. I know who he's. I know he was TJ's guy.
Nobody knows more about cardio than cyclers, because it's all cardio. The whole thing.
Cardio.
It's all cardio. So they know
cardio and EPO.
They know that too. But they know how to recover, and they know where what's your threshold, like where you should be.
Yeah, for sure.
He's using real science to do it. And he's like, this is the first time he's ever been through a camp like this, where he's coming in fresh, where he's not overtrained.
Well, we're going to see.
We're going
to see. And
Joe Rogan has finally broken down UFC 319's main event, Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev, and his analysis is as intense as the fight itself. This isn't just another striker versus grappler matchup. This is a collision of two undefeated forces at middleweight, each with completely different paths to victory. And Rogan's perspective makes you realize how unpredictable this fight really is. On August 16th in Chicago, the UFC middleweight title will be on the line. Dricus du Plessis, awkward, relentless, and riding a wave of brutal finishes, faces Khamzat Chimaev, the undefeated phenom from Chechnya who's been tearing through the competition since the moment he stepped into the octagon. It's the kind of fight that feels inevitable, but now that it's here, the stakes are even higher than fans imagined. Both men are in their prime, both carry that aura of invincibility, and one of them is walking out with his first UFC loss. Rogan doesn't mince words when it comes to Khamzat. He calls him a wrecking machine in the opening rounds, a fighter who can walk you down, grab a hold of you, and drag you straight into his world. That suffocating pressure isn't just physical, it's mental. Chimaev isn't looking to outpoint you, he's looking to dominate you from the first second, making every breath a struggle, forcing you to react instead of execute your own game plan. His control is heavy, his transitions are fast, and he has that unique blend of aggression and technique that makes opponents fold early. But Rogan also makes it clear that there's a big question mark hanging over Chimaev's style, his gas tank. We've seen moments where, if the finish doesn't come early, that same relentless pace starts to cost him. It's not just about physical exhaustion, it's the psychological shift that happens when you're used to smashing opponents in minutes and suddenly someone is still there after round 2. Against a fighter like du Plessis, who thrives in chaotic late-round battles, that can turn into a nightmare scenario. Rogan's respect for du Plessis is obvious. He admits that, on paper, Dricus doesn't have the cleanest striking technique. His movements are unorthodox, his punches aren't textbook, and his defense can look awkward. But that's exactly why he's so dangerous. Rogan calls it chaos efficiency. He's unpredictable, landing shots from angles you can't easily prepare for, and when he senses you're hurt, he turns up the pressure in a way that breaks people mentally. Combine that with his freakish cardio, and you have a fighter who gets stronger as the fight goes on, not weaker. This isn't a simple wrestler versus striker matchup. Rogan points out that du Plessis can wrestle enough to survive early takedowns, and Chimaev's striking has evolved to the point where he can threaten with fight-ending shots on the feet. That's what makes this fight so compelling. Neither man is confined to one domain. Both can operate outside their comfort zones, which means the momentum could swing wildly at any point. Durability and heart are major factors, Rogan highlights. Du Plessis has taken big shots, been rocked, and still come back to finish fights. He's proven he can fight through adversity and still find a way to win. Chimaev brings a different kind of toughness, a ferocity that makes every exchange feel personal. He's the kind of fighter who will push himself into deep exhaustion just to impose his will. Two different mentalities, but both are battle-tested. When it comes to paths to victory, Rogan sees it clearly. For Chimaev, the blueprint is dominance early. Get the takedown, control position, land heavy ground and pound, and make Du Plessis feel like there's no escape. For Du Plessis, it's all about survival in the opening storm, forcing Chimaev to work harder than he wants to, and then taking over with pace, pressure, and awkward striking in the later rounds. Rogan doesn't give a firm prediction, but the way he frames it leaves two possible endings. If Chimaev gets it done inside 2 rounds, the belt changes hands. If Du Plessis drags him into the championship rounds, the South African keeps his crown. Either way, UFC 319 is shaping up to be one of the most intense and unpredictable title fights of the year. August 16th, Chicago. Dricus Du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. One man leaves with gold, the other leaves with his first taste of defeat. Joe Rogan isn't the only one weighing in on this matchup. Former UFC middleweight champion Michael Bisping has also shared his thoughts, and he's leaning heavily on Du Plessis' grit and adaptability. Bisping points out that while Chimaev has faced top-tier opponents, he hasn't yet been in a 5-round war against someone with Du Plessis' specific skill set. In Bisping's words, Dricus has that ugly style that works. It's not pretty, but it's effective. And when you combine that with his cardio, he's the kind of guy who can make a fighter like Khamzat question himself in the later rounds. Daniel Cormier, on the other hand, has expressed a lot of respect for Chimaev's wrestling pedigree and sees it as a decisive weapon if used correctly. Cormier believes that Chimaev's best path to victory isn't just early takedowns, but controlled, patient grappling over multiple rounds to sap Du Plessis' energy without burning himself out. DC warns that if Chimaev comes in too reckless, trying to score a highlight finish, he might give Du Plessis the scrappy brawl he thrives in. But if Chimaev fights smart and conserves energy, we might be looking at a dominant new champion. Chael Sonnen offers yet another angle, focusing on the mental warfare aspect. Sonnen thinks that both fighters are entering the cage with unshakable self-belief, but how they handle the first real moment of adversity could decide the fight. When Khamzat gets stuffed on a takedown or eats a big shot, that's where we find out if he can stay composed. And if Dricus gets ragdolled early, can he keep his confidence? That's the fight within the fight, and I can't wait to see who breaks first. Sonnen's take adds a psychological layer to the technical analysis, reminding fans that championship fights are often as much about mental toughness as physical skill.